Hello, listeners! In honor of the holiday, we are not releasing a new episode this week. However, that doesn't mean that you're without your entertainment. Rather, we are releasing our first Patreon exclusive spoilercast for the movie Skyscraper. I know you are definitely going to enjoy this, even if you haven't seen the movie. So we're about to break out the duct tape and take you on an adventure together. And trust me, you'll understand that joke very soon. But before I let Josh take it away, please consider joining our Patreon and getting exclusive content like this when it's released. Head over to patreon.com/thatkindofnerd for more information, and the link is in the show notes. So, without further ado, Jimmy, roll the thing.
If you're listening to this special edition of That Kind of Nerds podcast, you are a Patreon subscriber who voted for us to go see the movie Skyscraper. We went together. It was quite an experience. CJ and I actually did quite of a Mystery Science Theater 3000 thing that Brian was not appreciative of.
Not part of it.
Anyway,
Nope.
I will say the other two parties in the theater, and I will stress that, the other two parties in the theater were talking the entire time. This is your exclusive Patreon subscriber spoilercast of Skyscraper.
So, if you do not know what the movie Skyscraper is about, I will give you a brief description.
Oh, I want a synopsis here. Go ahead.
Of the premise.
Please.
There is the everyman character named Will Sawyer, who is at a new building being built in Hong Kong called the Pearl. Will Sawyer is there to assess the security of this building as a small security firm because he has lost his leg in a horrible accident via a hostage situation when he worked for the FBI. He and his family are there enjoying this new building while he does his job, and it just so turns out that terrorists or robbers end up starting to take over the building and lighting the building on fire, which is causing our hero Will Sawyer to climb up this building and fight bad guys along the way. And if any of this sounds familiar, it's because you saw it in a 1988 movie called Die Hard.
No, you did not.
No, that's not true. That's not, I mean, not completely true.
It's the exact plot of Die Hard.
No, so let's back it up a little bit because my initial problem with this movie started when he realized his family was above the 96th floor where the fire was and went to get in the building and couldn't access the locked door.
Yes.
So what he did was say, oh, there's scaffolding over here. What I'll do is climb. They were above the 96th floor.
Yes.
He is not climbing.
No.
Not only not climbing 96 floors, but climbing a past the 96th floor, which is on fire.
Right.
Up the side of the building and then getting in. None of this is happening.
So we are to believe that a man with a prosthetic leg is climbing over 96 stories of a crane because he couldn't break a lock on an elevator.
Inside of 15 minutes.
Very quickly. Right.
That's movie magic, my friends.
No.
Okay.
No.
All right. I had so many problems with this movie.
That's why it's not Die Hard because John McClane was already in the building. Now,
know why it's not Die Hard?
Now, I will say this. During watching the movie, there was a moment where Dwayne Johnson broke the emergency glass and took out what appeared to be a very ornate axe. Yes. And I turned to CJ and I said, now I have a gun. Ho, ho, ho. Because it was the clearest parallel I could draw to I found a weapon.
Let me walk you through my perspective of this movie as it occurred in the theater.
Can I just, before you do that, I just give you my alternate title for this movie?
Oh, please, yes.
Alternate title would be wonderful.
Go for it, please.
This movie should have been called Skyscraper, The Power of Duct Tape. There was a lot of duct tape in this movie.
And you had completely, like, I don't know if you had noticed your body language in the theater, but you were essentially leaning 45 degrees away from CJ and I.
So no,
because we were talking the entire time. And the duct tape scenes, CJ and I were at our most active. Like, I don't give a fuck how much duct tape you have. It's not sticking to a window.
The adhesive would, even if it did,
and
the adhesive would be
turns
gone.
back to me. He's like, the amount of soot in the air would immediately coat the duct tape, and there'd be no grippiness.
All right. Let me rein this in. Let's get a little.
No, this is fantastic already.
This is what this podcast.
This is exactly what Patreon people pay for.
That's right.
This bullshit.
We don't need to get. Listen.
I get. No, that's fine. I just want to explain. I haven't spoken.
This movie was awful. Do not go see this movie. Enjoy our commentary on this movie because
it was historically bad.
terrible.
And when I say historically bad, I mean one of the historically worst movies to have ever been made.
So
it was historically bad.
Let me tell you how I went into this movie and what happened here. First off, Movie Pass was down, so I paid money to see this movie, people.
That's actually my favorite part about the movie.
I paid money to see this movie. All right.
I do also want to remind that last month, CJ was very against seeing this movie.
I did not want to see this movie at all.
Our beloved fans, who I do adore so much, made him see this movie, and then it ended up that he had to pay for it.
Had to pay for the
greatest.
And
it wasn't on top.
It wasn't
the greatest justice.
It wasn't matinee prices, y'all. It was full price. Here's how we were. We were in the theater, party in front of us, party behind us. We made the party behind us move. Because we took their seats. So
no, I did because the guy was using my seat as a footrest. I'm like, I'm sitting in the middle of the goddamn theater.
Brian's on the left.
I need to see The Rock in all of his 250-foot glory.
How I didn't even realize you did that.
That's
shit.
what happened.
How
it's so
inconsiderate.
Great. Brian's on the
How
left.
is it inconsiderate for me? He's putting his fucking feet on the seat.
Look, I let you guys pick the seats because I don't give a shit where I would have sat 3 rows horizontally and vertically away from everyone.
Brian's on my left. I'm in the middle. Josh is on my right. I immediately recognize that this is a movie that I'm going to break my one cardinal rule for. Let's fucking talk during this movie. All right. This movie is so dog shit. Let's just talk during the movie. We talked during the trailers.
We talked throughout the entire movie. And I loudly. It wasn't even. We weren't even disguising.
Not even disguising. So Josh and I are having like our little Mystery Science Theater 3000 moment. We're just talking about. I'm like this. I was like, you see the first, you see that the opening scene where they're doing the hostage negotiations, and they show one character, and I lean over to Josh and go, "You think that's gonna be the bad guy? What a twist!"
It took about 30 seconds,
and then I leave it over to Brian. I'm like, "You think this guy's gonna double cross The Rock?" And Brian just leans over and goes, "I think you don't want to talk to me during this movie." I was like, all right, I see I'm going to be over here to the right for a lot.
Because I wanted to experience... Listen, I don't talk during
the shittiness. You wanted to experience the shittiness.
This movie was so shitty.
I needed to experience this in all of its terribleness.
My most favorite movie experience of my entire life. I was at a co-ed sleepover at the age of 16, and they decided, because all giant nerds, they were going to watch the Highlander movies. I had never seen them, and I arrived at the party late because I was at another party.
You must have been really confused.
He was at the cool kids party.
I was.
I know you were.
And then I arrived at this party late. I sat way in the back with one other guy.
Got a handy.
This guy became one of my best friends. This guy Justin, who just the entire time we're watching the Highlander movies, we stayed up all night watching the Highlander movies. He just talked.
I'm sorry, what movies were you watching?
The Highlander,
and made fun of them the entire time. That's
what this was.
That's what this was. My face hurt when I left the theater last night.
So much
because I had been laughing so hard the whole time.
It was so bad. Everything about this.
I enjoy talking during a movie too, but not in the theater. Like if
the people behind. Look, listen. There were a grand total of 7 people in this theater.
Yes.
There were 2 behind us and 2 in front of us, and both behind and in front were talking the entire movie.
Actually, the couple in front of us, and I say couple, I mean like 2 people, because I think it was like a grandma and like her grandson got in a fight.
got in a fight
during a verbal disagreement during the movie, and he stormed out at one point. This movie was so bad that I look over to Josh and said, "There's more drama happening in the row in front of us than on the fucking screen."
For sure.
And everyone in that movie was like a big takeaway from the Fan 4-Stick movie was, oh my God, no one is emoting. Like no one, they're all robots with no smiles laughing.
When Nev Campbell is your most emotional person, you've got a problem.
My other thing was the whole crux of The Rock's character was, I haven't picked up a gun in 10 years, right? So we saw a sword on the wall in the beginning. I'm like, hey, that's a Chekhov sword. We're going to get that sword later.
Yeah, because he makes the mention to his old army buddy, oh, I haven't picked up a gun because I put my sword down. Yep. And so I know what I'm thinking is he should pick up a gun again. But no, he picks up a legitimate sword.
Yep.
It's so
Which
bad.
doesn't even make sense in the metaphor that he was giving.
On so many levels.
He even picked up a gun at one point and didn't even use it or fire it. And it threw it away.
At somebody.
Threw it away.
So listen. I do just want to give a brief synopsis of everything that happened at the end of the movie so people understand what we're talking about.
Wait. I have a question.
No.
The part of this tower is the Pearl, right? It's this big spherical structure on the top of this tower. And they say that no one has seen inside of it. It's very mysterious. But they guarantee it will be the #1 tourist attraction in the world, Brian. They say it's going to be the #1 tourist attraction in the world, and it is a house of mirrors.
It's a bunch of mirrors. They're TV screens.
I look up to Josh. I'm like, how the fuck is this the #1 tourist attraction in the world?
Because mirrors, CJ.
No, my response to CJ was
in that Pearl. That's
my response to CJ was, you haven't been to the Comcast building at Christmas.
They do the thing where the outside can be the inside. Oh my God.
No, everyone should go to the Comcast building at Christmas. It's the most amazing thing I've ever seen in my entire life. And it's a wall of TVs. That's basically what we're looking at.
That's all we're looking at. It's why is this the #1 tourist attraction? Fine, whatever. Fine. It's the #1 tourist attraction. I'm going to
travel to Hong Kong to see myself in different shapes. I don't know.
It's not even hey.
So it happened where they erected all these hollow screens. And I turned to CJ and I go, Final Battle Station.
It's that boss battle's going to happen right here.
I knew immediately.
That's definitely Final Destination. No weapons.
That was going to be where the final battle was going to be.
Yep.
And that was, I'm like, my final battle. And here's the funny thing that happened. Before the final battle with the bad guy, that's when I fell asleep.
And that was the part. Brian and I were like, what's the over-under on Josh falling?
I said 45 minutes. You lasted past both of us.
I did. And it wasn't because I was interested at all. It was because CJ kept waking me up every time I started dozing off. It's really
right.
I'd have been asleep 30 minutes into the movie if CJ hadn't kept fucking talking to me.
Also,
and then by the end, I had completely leaned away.
Yeah, you did.
Sunk back into my seat. I'm going to sleep right now. I was just this is unbearable.
I was like, oh God, I talked too much even for Josh. He's even leaning away from me at this point.
I did. I leaned away and before the final, before the denouement, I had fallen asleep. And then he woke me up after the thing happened, and I was like, what the fuck happened?
What happened?
Wait, never mind. It doesn't matter. I knew what was going to happen anyway.
So anyway, you have the setup that we just spoke about, which Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson loses his leg, has to go assess this building. Family's in there, and right on cue, because the family's not supposed to be there, little Henry gets a stomach ache. They need to go back to the hotel or the tower, and they're just there in time for the terrorist attack.
It was such
the entire middle of this movie is all Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson doing amazing feats with duct tape. And then and a couple of I have a fake leg gags.
Look, and he said that. He was like, if you can't fix it with duct tape, you're not using enough duct tape.
Here's the thing.
Right.
What do you think? What do you guys think? What do you think 3M paid?
Right. To have that. Here's what I'll say. If you want a good use of duct tape and some good quotes about duct tape for accomplishing shit that you shouldn't accomplish with duct tape, watch and read The Martian. Don't watch this bullshit.
Or just watch any of the two or three episodes of Mythbusters that revolved around duct tape.
Also, at the end of the movie, why did he tether the thing to his
bad
prosthetic
leg. Yes,
to his leg that could come off.
He's hanging
not
out
the other one.
He's hanging
not
out of
the one that's attached to him.
He's hanging out of a window, and he has like a harness. He made like his own harness, and he like loops in his feet. Right.
Here's what I'm gonna do. I need to make sure that I don't fall to my death.
Right.
So I'm gonna put it on my prosthetic leg that I attach to myself.
It's fallen off 4 times already.
Oh my God.
Because that is amazing tension building, because you know that leg's not going to last.
Brian, I have like this movie was historically bad.
After some very mediocre action scenes, which you have The Rock. I understand why the action scenes are so mediocre.
They were very mediocre despite The Rock.
Entire ending, the big twist is that these terrorists are not coming after anybody in particular. They're coming after a flash drive. It has all sorts of wire transfers between all sorts of crime bosses and criminal organizations in Hong Kong. And that's why we're attacking the building. So here's my thing. At the beginning of the movie, because Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is assessing the security, they give him a tablet that only is synced to his face. Only his face can unlock it. And this tablet is to get him into the third-party site where the security is all being handled and being taken care of.
But only by him. No one else.
Location.
Right.
So
one guy. One guy controls the security of this entire fucking skyscraper that is 5,000 feet tall.
That's not even the problem. So he leaves to go to the tertiary site. They try to take the tablet. He knows they try to take the tablet because they take away his bag. But, oh no, the Rock saw it coming. He smelled what they were cooking. He had put the tablet in his jacket beforehand. And so he's getting, he's at his buddy's apartment before we realize that we actually already knew who was going to betray him.
Oh, from the very beginning. It was very clear. Because why would that guy be in this movie?
Right. They fight. He realizes, oh no, they betray him. He even says, why didn't you leave the tablet in the bag? Now I have to kill you. I feel bad because we're friends, but I don't feel bad because I'm the bad guy.
The thing is, the guy died seemingly, quote unquote, by accident. However, had Pablo Schreiber remained alive, he would have been a way better villain.
For those of you who don't know, you need to watch The Wire. All right.
Brian, wouldn't he have been?
I'm not even there yet.
10x better villain.
Let me finish my point. They
did that reveal way too quickly.
He says,
okay, flapping head, finish your point.
He says 2 more times that they want the tablet. Your family's not safe. They want the tablet, right? And then The Rock has plenty of time to break the tablet in half that only he can unlock before Asian Kung Fu master chick gets it and puts it up to his face any sort of facial recognition doesn't respond that way anyway.
I didn't even think about breaking it. I mean, that's a whole different angle.
My point is, if he broke the tablet, this movie's done.
I'm going to go one step further.
CJ actually said something along these lines very early in the movie.
I'm gonna take it one step further and stop this movie from happening before the movie even starts. So the whole reason that this flash drive exists, right, is because he had to give money to this Russian mob gang, right? And it's got a ledger of all the banks, right? It's got the ledger of everyone that got the money because he added a tracking cookie to it. So now he knows not only did you take my money, but I can show where all your money is. This all could have been avoided with one word: Bitcoin. Put this shit. If you're going to send the mob, all right, illicit money that no one's supposed to know that you have, and they have, and you're not, and you don't want anyone to track it. Cryptocurrency. You got it done.
Well, the whole point of him doing that, though, was so that he then blackmailed the mob so that they could never extort him for money again. But if I have this flash drive, you can never ask me for money again because I have you by the balls. That's the whole point.
Didn't work out very well.
No, clearly. His entire building got burned down.
The whole thing.
The point is this, and the other point is this.
It didn't burn down at all. Nothing actually
that was the other part too.
The
How the hell does a tower stay on fire for this long? 96 plus
amazing.
stories.
It was amazingly well built.
It's through the power of duct tape.
That's what it is.
Here's the thing. My point is this: this movie could have ended so many other times, and the other part of it is him having a fake leg didn't add anything to the movie at all.
Nope. Nope.
This movie could have happened if he just got randomly injured. Maybe he has a wonky knee. I don't know.
The reason they put the fake leg on was obviously because he was superhuman and can do anything, right? He also studied physics, right? So he could know how to swing the crane to jump across the building. But you have to put him so he's infallible in one way. Like, not my leg.
But that doesn't work.
Listen,
You
this
know
whole
why
movie
Die
doesn't
Hard
work.
worked? Die Hard worked because everybody was like, "Oh,
Please
Bruce
stop
Willis is the everyman."
Please stop comparing this movie to Die Hard.
But the problem is, it's Die Hard. It is trying so hard to be Die Hard.
It's trying to be Die Hard.
But the fact of the matter is,
Brian,
even-
I don't disagree. At one point I said to CJ, shoot out the glass,
Right.
shoot all the glass.
Yes.
And it was when the little girl was walking around like aimlessly. I was like, shoot the glass. It just
The other part too was poor
it's
planning.
Die Hard, but it's not Die Hard.
There was one moment too where there's a bridge goes out, right, and his son is on the other side. He and his wife are on one side, their son's on the other. So they lay down a plank, right, so that way the bridge is gapped. Then the wife goes over.
Why did
to
she
grab
go over?
the son, put him on his back to walk over. Why did she go over?
She's got to be at least double the weight of the kid. Why couldn't the
And
kid
he was
just
old enough that he
crawl
could
over?
walk across or crawl or hog a
crawl.
plank.
Just crawl.
Yeah.
My thing is this. If you let me finish my thought.
No, because you keep giving us other thoughts.
Yes.
Die Hard works because John McClane is an everyman. And you feel like, oh, anybody could be trapped in this scenario and still make it out on top. I don't care if you give Dwayne Johnson one leg, a 2-inch dick, and 3
Right.
fingers. He is a superhuman.
Yeah.
No matter what.
They held a
It
bridge
doesn't
together.
matter. And that's
All right.
why this movie sucked.
All right.
I actually have no further thoughts.
I have
it was
nothing else.
historically bad.
This movie was.
You're all welcome, Patreon subscribers, because this was terrible.
This was awful. Please don't see this movie. Not even as a joke. Don't see this movie. You'll never get that time back.
I actually wouldn't prank someone with this movie. I wouldn't do it.
Someone just find me one 5-star review of this movie. I just want to hear what someone thinks of this movie that they would give it like a 5-star.
See all 220 user reviews. 4 out of 10, 8 out of 10. Okay, you want to hear the 8 out of 10?
I'll take an 8 out of 10. Give me an 8 out of 10 review.
There's 3 8 out of 10s. There's a 10 out of 10. Okay,
Give me
Go
that
ahead,
10 out of
read
10,
that
sir.
shit.
I'm going to read a 10 out of 10 off of IMDb's review page. The title is A Fun Summer Blockbuster, which has no logic, but is one exciting thrill ride.
False.
No, there's one thing that's very true in there. It has no logic. Anyway, the review reads as this. Skyscraper is an adrenaline rush thrill ride that will put you on the edge of your seat until the closing credits.
Nope.
It is one of those fun blockbuster movies that are big, loud, and plenty of dumb fun. Some may think that is a ripoff from Die Hard. It is.
Yep.
Which may be similar in a way.
Yep.
You have Dwayne Johnson running around the building trying to save his family from a group of a group of paramilitary bad guys and escape from the burning building, but it tries to be its own genre action film, and it delivers. The
Nope.
plot is simple. It follows a former FBI agent, Will, after a hostage situation gone wrong that leaves him being an amputee victim and
now they're just
meeting a
synopsizing the movie.
now they're this
I'll just cut it there.
this person had a lot to say. I'm just gonna skip ahead to the highlights here.
Go for it.
There is plenty of exciting action sequences. False, it's just him crawling around a building with duct tape. And some of those sequences has no laws of physics in play. That's true.
That's very true.
The visual
Climbing 96 stories in 15 minutes is horseshit.
Bullshit.
the visual effects are top notch, awesome.
No,
they're not.
No, they're not.
They're very
Overall, Skyscraper is an awesome, great film. Dwayne Johnson and the cast delivers. The action is fast paced. No, it's not, and does not stop with the thrill until it finishes. And the visual effects are intense. It is trying to be its own film with similarities of an older action movie like Die Hard or The Towering Inferno.
Awful. So awful.
On Rotten Tomatoes at the time of this recording.
That is awful.
Hang on 1 second. There's a 9 out of 10 review, and the headline is, "It's not bad." That's not
That's not 9 out of 10, you asshole.
Anyway, so final thoughts. This is what I want to give you just so you have an idea. At the time of this recording, On Rotten Tomatoes, it has a 48% out of 196 reviews. 95 have certified it fresh. 101 have certified it to be rotten. Audience score was 79, liking it with an average review of 4 out of 5.
That's insane.
Ridiculous.
That's insane. This movie was completely dog shit.
It was so bad. I want to say thank you, though, Patreon members, for this amazing experience.
No, I'm not thanking you.
No, for us sitting down together.
I'm not thanking you.
No, you're not thanking them?
No. Don't do this shit to me again.
We're going to see the Meg next month, aren't we?
No, you cut that shit right out of this show.
Well, Patreon subscribers, I hope you've gotten your money's worth out of this. We saw a terrible movie, so you won't have to. We're excited to keep developing the show, working on the format a little bit, but for right now, just enjoy our unfiltered thoughts on the movie. All right, thank you so much for listening, and we will see you next month. Remember to please vote on the polls on patreon.com. Share the news. Tell other people about this exclusive content, and tell them to subscribe so they can get access to this every single month. Thank you so much. We look forward to speaking with you next month, and please, for the love of God, give us a good movie. See, I told you would enjoy that. Again, if you want to get content like this, you need to go to patreon.com/thatkindofnerd and become a patron. Rewards start at just $5. So again, thank you so much for making us your walk around your neighborhood and your drive to work. And we look forward to speaking with you next week.
Well, welcome to the club, 'cause you are that kind of nerd.